She thought she could betray me while I was miles away. But she forgot one thing. I know every lie she tells before she finishes it. The moment I saw that beach house address on her phone, I didn't hesitate. I drove straight there. And karma followed us all. Before I tell you how everything unfolded that night, how betrayal turned into something far more explosive, don't forget to hit like, share this story, and subscribe. Trust me, you'll want to stay till the very end. I've always believed that when someone loves you, truly loves you, you can feel it. Not in grand gestures or loud promises, but in the quiet things. In the way they look at you without saying a word. In the way their hand naturally finds yours, even in silence. For 5 years, Alina had been that person for me. She was the steady voice on my worst days, the spark in every celebration. The name I never imagined would one day cut like a blade. Our life wasn't a fairy tale. It was simple, almost ordinary. But it was ours. We had our little rituals. Saturday morning pancakes, she pretended not to burn, but always did. Sunday drives to nowhere with the windows down, and the same playlist playing on repeat. We didn't need expensive trips or perfect filters to feel like we belonged to something real. She'd always say, "You're my calm, Ronan," and I'd laugh because she was my chaos, the good kind. A week before it all happened, she told me about this girl's retreat. A couple of her friends had booked a quiet weekend away, a break from the noise, she said. I didn't even question it. I trusted her so deeply it didn't cross my mind to doubt a single word. I hugged her, kissed her forehead, and told her to have the time of her life. If I could go back to that moment, to the way my chest felt warm when she smiled up at me, I would. Not to change anything, but to remember what it felt like to trust without cracks. That night, we cooked dinner together. She danced around the kitchen like she always did, hair tied messily, humming out of tune, pretending to be the worst singer alive. I laughed. God, I laughed like nothing in the world could touch us. She rested her head on my chest and whispered, "Don't miss me too much, okay?" And I said, "I'll try. But I make no promises," she laughed. "And if lies have a sound, they're probably soft like that." Looking back now, every detail feels louder. The way she avoided eye contact when she mentioned the retreat. The way her smile lingered just a second too long, as if hiding something behind it. I didn't notice then. I didn't want to notice. Love has a strange way of blinding you. Not with darkness, but with light so bright you miss the shadows creeping in. I spent the next few days counting down to her trip, imagining her having fun, laughing with her friends, living the kind of easy joy she deserved. I had no idea those days were quietly marking the end of the version of my life I thought was unshakable. I didn't know it then. But the calm I held so close was only the silence before the storm ripped through everything I believed in. I've heard people say that betrayal doesn't come crashing through the door, it slips in quietly, like a breeze that chills the room before you even realize the window's open. For me, that breeze arrived 3 days after Alina left for her so-called girls' trip. At first, everything felt normal. We texted like usual little check-ins, the kind couples send without thinking. "Good morning, you dork. Don't forget to eat. Miss you already." Her words looked the same. They sounded the same. But there was something off in between the lines, a strange gap where warmth used to live. I remember staring at her last message just for words, "Going to sleep now." Simple, innocent. But it came hours earlier than she usually turned in. It felt rehearsed. To clean. The kind of message someone sends when they're more focused on what they're hiding than what they're saying. My gut tightened, just for a moment. I brushed it away, told myself not to be paranoid. She deserved my trust. She always had it. The real crack showed itself the next afternoon. She'd forgotten her phone charger at home. A small thing, nothing special. But her tablet, synced to her phone, was still in the living room drawer. I hadn't touched it since she got it, but that day. It lit up. A notification flashed across the screen. Just one message. One line that changed everything. "Can't wait to have the beach house to ourselves, Aiden." I stared at it for a full minute, convinced I was imagining things. My heart didn't race. It sank. A slow, heavy drop straight to the bottom of my chest. Her name. Another man's name. The beach house. I knew it. I knew that place. It wasn't some random Airbnb. It was the place she once said she wanted us to spend an anniversary at. Our anniversary. The air around me went cold. Everything else blurred out. The ticking clock, the sound of traffic outside, the TV playing faintly in the background. It was just me and that one message. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even cry. I just stood there, staring at a truth that didn't fit inside the world I thought we'd built together. Something inside me shifted, not a loud snap, but a quiet break, the kind that doesn't heal the same way again. And in that silence, I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't confront her over a message. I would confront her over the truth face to face. Not because I needed answers, but because she needed to see what it looks like when trust dies without making a sound. There's a special kind of silence that comes right after you discover a betrayal. It's not peaceful. It's sharp. It cuts through everything, even the air you breathe. That night, after reading that message, I sat on the couch staring at the wall like it was holding the answers. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just listened to the sound of my own heartbeat, heavy and steady, like it was counting down to something I couldn't see yet. I could have called her. I could have demanded an explanation, yelled, begged, cried, but I didn't. I didn't want words. Words could lie. Eyes couldn't. I wanted to see her face when the truth cornered her with no escape. That's when the anger stopped being wild and became something else. Quiet, controlled, dangerous. The next morning, I acted like nothing had happened. I made coffee. I sent her a text. Hope the girls are having fun. Don't forget sunscreen. She replied with a heart emoji and a photo of her on the beach, except I looked closer. I've been to that beach before. The sand, the shoreline, the background. It wasn't some girl's trip spot. It was that beach. The one next to the house we once talked about like a dream. She didn't even bother to lie well. I checked her shared calendar. She had no idea I still had access. Right there, sitting plain as day, was the location. The beach house. I memorized it like it was carved into me. I didn't hesitate. I packed a small bag, not because I needed anything, but because it felt like a ritual. A quiet preparation for the war I didn't start, but was ready to finish. As I drove through the night, the world outside blurred past me. Headlights, trees, the sound of the tires on the road. Inside, everything was painfully clear. Every mile brought me closer to the truth and further away from the man who trusted her blindly. I didn't picture the confrontation. I didn't rehearse lines. I just knew one thing. She was going to see me. Not the man who loved her. The man she burned. Somewhere along that road, I realized something else. I wasn't going there to win her back. I was going there to bury the illusion I'd been living in. And when the first glimpse of the ocean appeared in the distance, that silence inside me, it stopped cutting. It started hardening. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was the beginning of a reckoning. The night smelled like the ocean, soft, cold, and heavy with salt. As I pulled up near the beach house, the sound of the waves felt louder than usual. Maybe it wasn't the ocean. Maybe it was my heartbeat, hammering in my ears like a war drum. I parked the car far enough so the headlights wouldn't give me away. The house stood there, glowing warm and golden under the night sky, like a scene out of someone else's love story. I walked closer, every step tightening the knot in my chest. And then I saw it through the wide glass window, Alina. My Alina, laughing. Not just laughing. Glowing. That kind of glow I thought only I could bring out of her. And beside her, leaning in close, was him, Aiden, his hand on her waist, her fingers tracing the back of his neck like it was something she'd done 100 times before. In that moment, the world narrowed. Everything else disappeared, the ocean, the air, even my pulse. All I could hear was the echo of a promise she once made. I could never hurt you. Lie that now looked me straight in the face and smiled. I didn't storm in. I lifted my phone and hit record. Her laughter, his hands, their closeness, it all became evidence, not just for others, but for myself. Proof that what I once believed was untouchable was already broken long before I got there. I walked to the door slowly. The wooden steps creaked under my shoes, but I didn't stop. My hands weren't shaking anymore. My heart wasn't racing. I wasn't the man who left home 2 nights ago. I was someone colder, sharper. When I knocked, her voice called out, light and careless. Then the door opened, and there it was. The look. That split second where the mask slips, where truth and fear collide in someone's eyes. Her smile died before it could reach me. "Ronan," she whispered. I didn't say a word. I stepped inside. Aiden froze, trying to look brave, but failing miserably. I reached into my jacket and pulled out the small box I'd carried for weeks, the ring I'd planned to give her. I dropped it right between them. The sound it made when it hit the floor was louder than any scream. She started crying, started talking. I didn't care. My silence roared louder than both of them. This was the moment the world split clean in half. Love on one side, betrayal on the other. And I wasn't standing with them anymore. Strange how quiet a room can become after the truth explodes inside it. No crashing thunder, no slow music, just silence, thick and suffocating, like the walls themselves are holding their breath. Alina stood there, shaking, mascara running down her cheeks, whispering my name like it would erase everything I'd just seen. Aiden tried to step forward, but one look from me stopped him cold. I picked up the ring box, opened it slowly, and stared at it, not because I still wanted to give it to her, but because I wanted to remember the exact moment I let that dream die. Then I closed it, placed it gently on the table, and said, quietly but clear, "You were supposed to wear that this weekend." Her knees buckled a little. She whispered something about it not being what it looked like. But lies sound different when you've already seen the truth. They come out thin, fragile. She didn't even believe her own words anymore. What she didn't know, what neither of them knew, was that I wasn't here just to catch them. I was here to end it on my terms. Before leaving home, I'd made one call. 2, Sienna, Aiden's wife. I still remember her silence on the other end when I told her everything. She didn't cry. She didn't ask questions. She just said, "Where?" So when I heard a car pull up outside the house, I didn't flinch. I watched Alina's face pale as the headlights sliced through the window. Aiden's jaw clenched. For the first time that night, real fear flickered in his eyes. The door opened, and there she was, Sienna, calm, composed, dressed like someone who already knew the world had fallen apart, but decided to show up anyway. She walked straight past me, stopped in front of Aiden, and said nothing, just stared at him the way a storm looks at the shore, like it's already decided what happens next. I pressed play on the video I recorded outside. Lena's laugh filled the room like poison. Sienna's hands trembled, but her voice didn't. "I think this is what you call a girl's trip, right?" she said coldly. The color drained from both their faces, and me. I didn't have to shout, didn't have to break anything. My revenge wasn't fire. It was ice, quiet, precise, unforgiving. For the first time since that message flashed on her tablet, I felt in control. It's not because I hurt them, but because I let the truth do all the damage for me. There's a moment right after the storm hits when everything stops moving. No one breathes. No one speaks. It's just the weight of what's been revealed, pressing down on everyone in the room. That's what it felt like. Aiden stood stiff, Sienna's glare slicing through him like a blade. Alina's hands covered her mouth, as if she could push the truth back in, but it was too late. The truth was already burning through everything. I didn't have to say much. I didn't want to. That night, my silence became a weapon sharper than any words. Lena tried to reach for me, sobbing, whispering that she didn't mean for this to happen. I didn't move. I didn't even look at her the way I used to. That version of me, the one who adored her, was gone the second she wrapped herself around another man in that house. Sienna turned to me and gave a small nod. Not of friendship, not of comfort, but of understanding. Two people who'd been blindsided by the same lie. We didn't need to speak. We both knew exactly what the other felt. She walked over to Aiden, took off her wedding ring, and let it drop to the floor. It landed right next to the ring box I'd left on the table. Two futures dead in the same room. Aiden tried to talk. Lena tried to explain. Their voices collided like static. But the more they spoke, the smaller they sounded. Its betrayers always sound smaller once the mask falls. I stepped back, took out my phone, and stopped the recording. Then I opened a private group chat, one filled with mutual friends, people who had known us for years. I didn't need to write a speech. I just sent the video. No captions, no context. Just the truth. Within minutes, the message was seen. The house filled with the sound of notifications. Theirs, not mine. Alina's phone buzzed nonstop. I saw the panic spread across her face like wildfire. She knew. Everything she'd carefully painted, the perfect image of our happy couple, was collapsing in real time. Sienna walked out first. Head high, no tears. Just quiet rage dressed in dignity. I followed, not once looking back. Behind us, their world cracked open. I didn't need to destroy them. They'd done that themselves. All I did was turn the lights on. And as the door closed behind me, ocean roared louder than it had all night, like it was clapping for karma finally showing up. The air outside the beach house was different, colder, clearer, as the door shut behind me. It felt like a weight I'd been carrying without knowing finally slid off my shoulders. I stood there for a few seconds, listening to the waves crash in the distance. The night was quiet, but not the same suffocating quiet from before. This was the kind that lets you breathe again. Sienna was already by her car. She didn't cry. I didn't either. Two people standing in the same storm, not needing to speak to understand each other. I walked up beside her. For a long moment, we just stared out toward the ocean. No words, just silence. But this time, it wasn't sharp. It was clean. She finally said, "You didn't deserve that." I gave a small, tired smile. "Neither did you." Then she nodded, got in her car, and drove away without looking back. I respected that. Not every ending needs a grand speech. Some just need quiet. I walked down the beach alone, my shoes sinking into the wet sand. 5 years of memories, laughter, fights, promises, all of it flashed through my head, not like something I wanted back, but like something I was finally letting go of. It's strange how heartbreak doesn't always explode. Oh, many times it just exhales. For so long, I thought love meant holding on, no matter what. That real strength was in forgiving, in understanding, in giving the person you love the benefit of the doubt. But standing there with the ocean wind on my face, I realized strength can also mean walking away without losing your soul in the process. Alina and Aiden got their karma that night. Their world didn't collapse in some dramatic firestorm. It crumbled slowly under the weight of their own choices. People found out. Friends turned silent. The truth has a way of traveling on its own. I didn't have to do anything else. I drove home at dawn. The sky was slowly turning gold, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel heavy. Heartbroken? Yes, but not broken. There's a difference. One heals. The other doesn't have to. I know people expect revenge to be loud, messy, chaotic. But sometimes, the loudest revenge is peace. Real, undeniable, unshakable peace. And as the sun came up, I made a promise to myself. I won't let what they did define me. I'll let it free me.